Hey, how's it going? First, before I get started, I would like to ask you to look at some signs and also the palm of my hand. Oh, here we go. Is that better? Seemed like it was a little bit out of focus. Okay. Hi, I have been away. Man, I was sick. It wasn't just the cold thing. It was also like the other thing that I have that put me in the wheelchair, actually, and it is the brain tumor thing. It's a gnarly headache. Like I had to lay down. Had to go out too, but ugh. So feeling a little bit better. Ooh, I sound like I'm drunk. Feeling a little bit better. Well, I'm feeling better. I'm not drunk. Let's see. So I had a lot of time to reflect. Well, when I was awake. But I had put up a video and it was personal, rather personal, and I always have a feeling after I do something like that uh well, I don't know, I just felt like almost like I was doing something wrong, and it's like, no, I wasn't doing anything wrong. We're all allowed to say our piece, basically. And I'd been have been holding on to pieces for a long time, and it was time to like dispense with it, basically. And it's not the first time I had said some of it, but it's I think it's like a like a reflex of I like being a kid and walking around on eggshells around the adults when I was a kid, because I was always not deliberately, but I was just always popping off, like I was getting in trouble. Like every time I'd say something, I'd be like, "What'd I say?" Sort of my condition in life. And it's kind of difficult to stay on an even keel. And by that I mean just like stay in the moment and remember that whatever you're doing, it's right. Like even if it feels like it's wrong, I don't know, I guess embrace that feeling. But like, let me put it this way. There's like a serial killer. I know this sounds crazy, but there is a reason the serial killer exists. And, well, there's many reasons, but if I was just going to sum it up to one thing, I would have to say that it's for everyone around them. And you're like, what? You may be saying, what? How? Why? Who wants that? Well, let me get all weird and spiritual on you. We have like a sort of predetermined path to life that we make the determination on before the life happens. And when I say life, I mean from moment zero to the end, to the other end zero. But like I just saw, and here's why I'm talking about this. I just saw on my one of my social media sites, one of my followers was talking about suicide, and they're a physician, so they, I'm sure, see a lot of death. And can you imagine signing up for that? Like trying and failing and losing someone, or just seeing it happen to your colleagues, or or just to your family. You don't have to be a physician. Some families have a lot of death in them. And he wondered, like, why it happens, because it hurts everybody and it hurts them, and fully butting in, but hey, they followed me. So I said, look, what you just said about it being hurtful and everybody feeling things, that's why it happens. There's like psychological stuff that you can say, oh, they were feeling this way, or this drove them to that. Okay, but the point is the suicide happens, and it does hurt people around them, and it does make them think things like, why is this happening? Why do they do it? They're not doing it. I mean, maybe some of them have it in their sort of 3D mind that I'll show you, you're gonna be sorry when I'm gone. Well, that's kind of a given, isn't it? If someone cares about the dead person. But I was just talking about this in my last video. What we come here and do and the activities we are involved in are kind of like set dressing, because Earth is a school sort of that we come to sort of live out all of these possibilities, and it's an education. So I said, it's not being done to you, it's being done for you. And I know that's hard to understand. It's like totally, why do my words always, as soon I have word in mind, in brain, word go. Why word go? Is it camera? Is it sending rays or waves to make my brain dumb? It doesn't just happen to me. Perfectly articulate people, mouths full of words, gurgitating dictionaries and things, get in front of a camera and become sorry, sidetrack. Get back over. So yeah, it's like a dissonance. You can't believe that, like, this thing that happened to this person that you care so much about, or that they did this thing that's just like wrecked everybody, the parents, the kids, the friends. And, you know, it's not personal, but it is, but it isn't. You know, somebody's got to be the suicide person, I guess. It's just like one of the scenarios that play out in humanity. That's our purview. And we get to reincarnate and come back and do it over and over and over again until we've done it all. And I mean that literally, like, coming back into new lives to live as the poor person, or the junkie, or the rich person, or the rich junkie. So many varieties, right? Hence the massive number of reincarnations that some people, not all people, end up having here on Earth. Because you know what? We incarnate other places too. Not gonna speculate on that here for you at all. But yeah, that. And the thing is, the other thing I had wanted to talk about was, and I actually made a video, but I hated it. I made it like 2 days ago, and then I watched the playback, and I just didn't care for it. I was too scattered. I felt like if someone watched it, they might be like, this person is dangerous for people to listen to. It was not anything like that. I just, silly brain. But anyway, one of the things that I put in there that I still do want to share, was I posted something the other day on one of my socials, because it was just a Kathy thing to post. But I was sitting here listening to the radio it's in the other room, and I heard a drum intro, and the music had not started. So let me just say, when I'm doing this, filming, I don't, I want music in the background, but I don't want it to bleed into what I'm recording, so I'm not hearing it perfectly well. Anyway, this drum intro started. Excuse me. And and I was getting a little excited because I thought it was Blur's song 6. What it turned out to be was Creedence Clearwater Revival's Fortunate Son, which, you know, is a fine song, but I definitely was not excited that it was not Blur's song 6. I like that song by Blur. But I just thought that was interesting, and I started to write this post. The reason why I would do that is because I like drum stuff, and if you look at particularly my Facebook page, it's not all drum stuff, but there's a lot of stuff on like rock drummers or just drummers. That. So I'm typing this post about the drum intro thing, and Blur's song 6 comes on, and I thought, oh, that's nice. So later, a little bit, maybe an hour or two, I decided to meditate, and what I've been doing, well, since it was like super duper cold a couple of weeks ago, and it was so bad my sliding glass door kept freezing shut. That was exciting and fun because, well, it hurt my shoulders to get it open. I'm like using my arms and my legs and just like pulling with all my strength to get the door open. And it's a problem too that it froze because it froze on top of swollen winter weather door, so it was already like sticky, and like I was having a hard time dragging it back and forth. So anyway, I have been sitting in that doorway because I don't want to go all the way outside to meditate, and it's nice, it's fine, you know. So I roll up there, and I got the radio on, and I'm like getting into my little groove there and doing my breathing, and the Eurythmic song "Here Comes the Rain" came on, and I thought, oh, okay, cool, whatever, that song's all right. And then it started to rain, and I was like, oh, well, sync, that's nice. And then the song ended, and then the rain ended, and I was like, okay, thank you. And I bring up those two silly little things because when I first started getting into this whole spirituality awakening thing, I became aware of, oh shoot, are you really gonna forget right now? Oh, the synchronicity thing, or the coincidence, whatever you want to call it. But one thing that a lot of the other videos I was watching was talking about paying attention to synchronicities, and I thought, that sounds like more work than I want to do, like paying attention and keeping track of it. And I guess my mindset was like, I gotta walk around with a little pad and write stuff down or tap it into my tablet or whatever. Like, I have so much to do. Anyway, I just gradually started noticing them, which is probably closer to what was meant by paying attention or collecting the synchronicities. So it's just fun. After a while, I just realized, wait, this is fun, like with the Blur song thing. Or, well, pretty much just any way the universe wants to play with me, I'm down. Well, I don't know about any. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Oh, well, it's out there now. I don't think you can reverse once it's out. Anyway, it's just fun, and it's like an inside joke with you and nothing, you know, because you don't see it, smell it, hear it, or taste it generally. But another thing that started happening, which I love, is that it was almost like it mimics back at me what I'm saying, like it would happen with the TV at first. or with the phone or the laptop, whatever screen I happen to be looking through. But, you know, I would say something like, maybe I have a sentence ending in the word bill, and then as soon as I said bill, because I talk to myself a lot, the screen would answer back with the same word, like almost simultaneously. You hear what I'm saying? So it did seem like it was kind of mimicking me, like I say a word. It's like, what? But that's just me, stupid me stuff. So I just got past it, and the more I paid attention to it, and this was what those videos would say about collecting the coincidences and the synchronicities, paying attention to them when they're happening, was they were always saying that it was like a positive thing and advantageous to your life. And I have found that to be true. I really think it has been somehow advantageous to my life. There's been so many happy little things, happy little coincidences that are happening, and I don't know, it just makes me happier. So being in a more up mood is good. Like maintaining that is great, because you know, the other stuff happens. You start going into the fear column and you get the anger and the doubt and the whatever that's not happy, basically. But it's also stuff that we have to go through, like with the suicides. And when I say we have to go through, I don't just mean the person like going through all of whatever they're going through that has driven them to want to end their own life, but you know, it's there to like remind us we care, or to care, or to get outraged at the loss. Like, whatever it is, there's no wrong way to feel about it. Who can tell you you're feeling the wrong way? I find that if someone has a complaint about the way you're grieving, it's their problem, it's not yours. It's intrusive, because it's happened to me. I didn't appreciate it. But they were also going through whatever they were going through over the same thing, just processing it differently. And that's kind of the way we all work. So now, I guess I will get to the cards after all of that preamble. And the first card I pulled was from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. And it was the quiet card, number 11, my favorite number. And the subtitle is, or it's Deep Quiet, that's the card, and the subtitle is Meditation and Stillness. And I actually pulled this 2 days ago, about the time I got sick enough to just be sleeping most of the time, with a big old headache, like not conducive to work. This work, well, sure, it's my work. Oh, I'm having a helicopter visit from the base up the highway. Actually, they are like 24/7 lately, so something must be going on somewhere else. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked by that. But when I looked at this card, it's what I see is someone's hands here, and they're sort of manipulating like smoke, and I don't know if it's coming from their hands or it's in the air or what, but they're like doing something with it like that. And then there's also another set of hands, and it's harder because it kind of looks like there's two heads, like one here that you can see sort of more lit up in the foreground, and then just behind them. But here's the front person's hands, right? And then over here, hold on, let me get it better. Over here is like the other set of hands. If you can see, it kind of looks like two hands. And I kind of feel like it could be like one person, because one of the things, well, one person's multiple bodies. And one of the things that the spiritual video things that came up that I learned about is that you have, I think it's 7 other bodies. You have like this body, you have like an emotional body, and I don't have that memorized, but it's like all of these different sort of phases of yourself. And that also, that's what I was also thinking, was like this person is like out of phase in a way, but it's, if I go along with what I was just saying, they're out of phase with themselves, which is not something that doesn't kind of fit, I think, American society a lot right now, because a lot of us are sort of afraid and we don't know like what's coming next, and we're all sort of unsettled by the Trump MAGA era, where sort of underbelly stuff we always knew was there is just topmost in your face. And I feel like we're out of phase with ourselves, because why are we fighting? Like, we're going nuts about wars overseas, and we act like we're in them. Like, there are some of us Americans that act like we are actually over there doing fighting. When it comes to Israel, like, we're definitely there, and we definitely have a presence in a way in Ukraine because they are our allies. The Israel thing is difficult. All I want to say about that is, can we please stop killing each other? Stop that and figure it out. Use your words. As far as our involvement there, I know that aircraft carriers, I believe 2 of them were sent to the zone. I'm not sure. I thought I read something the other day that one of them lobbed a bomb or something at the coast, and Gaza's on the coast between Israel and the water, from the river to the sea, which, when Israel is saying it, or Netanyahu, I guess it just means plow through those inconvenient Palestinian people, which is not cool. That seems like it's, especially for Israeli Jews, out of phase. Like, I'm sort of unclear about Israel's origins. I thought that it sort of came into being because of Nazi stuff, and it was like a place for them to go and be in their own land and have their own country. And that's been most of my 60 years. But when I grew up and got some real education beyond the Mick education you get in school as a child, I learned that, well, of course there was always Jews there. I mean, in the Middle East, I grew up Catholic, and so it's all in the Bible. It's all over the Bible about the Jews and their travels and their travails and all of this. So they were there, but I guess Israel was just like a specific spot for them to go after the trauma of the Nazi Germany years. I may have that wrong, but some of it is right, because I definitely remember, and like, not just from being in school a million years ago, but from stuff like recently that I've seen. What my point is about that is, like, when did they become the Nazis? And why don't they see it? And they're just doubling down on that. And that seems like out of phase to me for that person, those people, to want to even pursue that route. But it's gung-ho, and it's been going on for years. I can remember a 60 Minutes interview from, gosh, I don't even know how many years ago, probably 5 or 6 now, but Leslie Stahl, was in a newly built Israeli home talking to some government official. And I thought it was interesting about this guy because she was asking him questions like, you guys are just moving in and you're making these people leave. And she was trying to be nice, but she was basically saying it was an unjustified move. And this guy, it may have even been her that interviewed Mark Zuckerberg, but I remember when he first started doing interviews, people would always comment on the fact that he didn't blink much. And this guy was like that, and it was so weird. It was like, I felt like he had this smile that never left his face and also never went to his eyes, which I've read that many times and I'd never really seen it, and that I saw it on that guy, and it kind of scared me because it was like there was nothing getting in. That smile was like a shield, and those dull eyes were, I mean, really, it looked like he was looking at her like he just wanted to smack the crap out of her for even suggesting that what they were doing was wrong. It was the weirdest interview. So that attitude of like, I don't know, turning off your humanity, like, oh my God, like in Vampire Diaries, I can't remember their names, but the two brothers, I'll put it in the info box. I should know their names. I mean, the actors, I think I know their names. At least one of them was Ian Sommerholder. Hold on, I can't... I can't talk and write, I guess, at the same time. And why was I talking about that? Oh, because they would turn, the vampires in that show would turn off their humanity and become a ripper. So when you have your humanity on as a vampire, you're not just indiscriminately tearing people up and also being spiteful about it and not caring who it hurts or anything, you know. So I always thought that was an interesting thing. Like, oh, you can turn your humanity on and off? Of course you can, but that was like an extreme way to have it presented if you weren't already aware of the phenomenon. Gotta get them words right if I can. Anyway, I forgot to get the guidebook, so I'm gonna just grab that real quick. Hold on a second. Okay, so deep quiet, meditation, stillness, clarity. When deep quiet appears, it is a message from the cosmos telling you, calling you to stillness, to step. Why can't I see? I think I have to turn on another light. Sorry. Right back. Well, that's better. Where is it? Calling you to stillness, to step outside the concerns of your everyday life. This does not mean to slow down and take a break, although it's a good start. The cosmos is telling you or inviting you to go deep, to that place where the noise stops and there is only the vast emptiness of inner peace. When we don't respond to the invitation offered by deep quiet, life can stop us in our tracks with an illness or a crisis. Listen to the still small voice. Remember that you want to catch spirit on a whisper, not a shout. And it's only human to argue that you are too busy to slow down, that you don't have time, the inclination, or the money or for a retreat. Do not hold on. Clingy. Do not let any of those reasons get the better of you. Stop the world and enter the deep quiet before you come to a crashing halt. After you have said yes to this invitation, you will find that the world can get along quite well without you, without the need for you to manage it. You will enjoy the freedom that comes with stillness, the clarity and spaciousness offered by the silence. Well, I gotta say, there's something to that universe stopping you in your tracks. I would, I definitely was having a lot of feelings about things at the time that I got sick, but I've talked about like why I'm sick right now before, as far as the leveling up. Like once you achieve certain milestones in your spiritual evolution, your body processes happen and give you something like a cold. And then there's also the activation of our DNA, of what was called the junk DNA for years, and it turns out it's a quantum component of DNA, and it was junk. We called it junk because we didn't get it. We are so arrogant. We're the only ones in the universe. We're so important. Junk. So, I think I might be done with that card for the moment. But let's talk about the other card I pulled, which was from the Upside Down. Well, no, not from the land of Upside Down. The box was. Anyway. The Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck is what I pulled the other card from, which is the Butterfly card. So, what do you think of when you see a picture of a butterfly? Well, I think of a number of things, but the first thing I think of is transformation. Because it starts out as a caterpillar, and then it weaves a cocoon around itself, and in there where nobody can see the processes happening, just like changing your mind, even you might not be able to see those processes happening. You just might wake up one day, and then all of a sudden the reasons that you thought one thing for sure in stone was the case, you realize, oh wait, maybe it's not. It might have taken a few layers to peel off for you to get there. And the other thing I think of is monarch butterflies, which I grew up seeing as a child in Los Angeles, and they stopped coming. Well, built on everything where stuff could grow, where a butterfly could live, so that might have played into it, but they kind of disappeared. By the time I was a young adult, I don't think I had seen any for years, so I didn't even think about it then, but it makes me sad now. And then the other thing I think about is completely ridiculous, but it's the monarch from the Venture Brothers. Who knows, his personality may play into what I'm about to say. But the other thing that I noticed today that I really hadn't paid attention to before was the color of the butterfly's wings, and it seems to be red, white, and blue. Or am I wacky? I guess you could say that's kind of orangey, but that's the camera. And I'm not going to say the camera, I don't know, is the camera right, or are my eyes right? I got to get a better surface. I mean, cyclamen? Carmine, not cyclamen. I think cyclamen's more pinky. Just a second, I dropped some stuff. Come here. So, dipping your head down when your sinuses are already all sitting right in the front of your face is kind of painful. Just for reference. But the reason why, of course, I focused on the red, white, and blue is because, as always, I'm watching things about my country kind of going wacko on the news and the news talkers sites. And so, I mean, it's kind of inescapable. Because I feel like not everyone is going to want to pay attention to politics, and Unfortunately, if you're of voting age, it's kind of like a responsibility, because if things are not happening the way you like them, if you did not make an effort to alter the balance, you have no one to blame but yourself. So I am going to read what it says about this red, white, and blue fly real quick. Undergoing great change and transformation. Is that what's happening in the USA right now? I would say so. Not just because it's an election year. Isn't it always an election year? Is there ever a time where we're not electing somebody for something? Anyway, the energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition. Since air is the element of the heart, this change usually involves relationships, or if you have a job, perhaps your career. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, argy-bargy, they call it in Australia. And, well, you know something, I was just going to say, that's a kind of a cute, sweet way to put, like, the verbal tongue lashings that have been, I guess that's the only kind of tongue lashings you're going to get, but the tongue lashings that are happening in our legislative houses and on the steps and on the interview shows and the things that are coming out, we act like we're so appalled. We're like savages everywhere else, but like, oh, our politicians are not behaving with decorum and politesse. Okay. Ever see the proceedings that happen in, like, England or Australia? They're more aggressive with it, I think. So, but, you know, it's not like we have a lack of aggression here at all. I will continue to read. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be extra patient and kind during this time. We are having difficulties with that, but not all of us. Be extra patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon, committing to one daily routine, a meal, practice, or prayer, done at the same time, place. Oh, yeah, that. Done at the same place and time will do wonders for lifting a butterfly spirit. And it just came to my mind, a butterfly is super light, and so it doesn't take much to lift their spirit. So just popped in my head, if you're going through like a grungy feeling period about whatever, you can lift your butterfly spirits just by smiling. It's like a very, very tiny effort, but it will lift a butterfly. A smile is powerful, because you know what else it'll do? Like, if you're not feeling like smiling and you just do it anyway, and you just paste the smile on your face for a while, your spirits will lift. It is true. Sounds crazy, but I swear, try it. You may have to do it more than once for your body to catch on, but it does work. Or your brain. So, when in balance, cheerful, graceful. When out of balance, fragile, frustrated. To bring into balance, daily routine. I don't know why that is rubbing me so the wrong way, daily routine. I don't want to go back into a routine. I mean, I have a routine, yes, but same place and time. My bad channel was kind of messed up on that. It kind of happens when it happens. But right on if you can be routine, regimented. If I don't have to be, I don't want to be. And that is why I'm not. So, the period of deep quiet, oh, I'm back to it. It just, for me, was I needed some time to contemplate some things. Like what I was saying at the top, the feeling of basically feeling bad for having expressed my feelings, because I'm aware of how it might be taken by anybody who sees it, but, you know, specific people for certain reasons. And the reason why I've just been doing it anyway is because I didn't say what I needed to say for years, and that's not good. Like, it didn't make me feel good inside. It didn't make me feel good about myself for not expressing myself when I felt like I was getting expressed upon all the time, no apologies. And I didn't feel like there was much concern about what the words were making me feel like. And so I don't want to exact like revenge on anyone, but if they feel that way because I'm saying what I wanted to say, that I needed to say, that I didn't say for so long, sorry. Even if whatever you're doing, it's not wrong. It can't be wrong. Whatever you're doing is right. So, like I said, I was feeling I was not feeling well physically, but mentally, like, all kind of guilty, I guess you could say, for saying my say. And then I watched a video on this channel that I really love, Magnetize Yourself, and the host is Infinity. And it's actually like a twin flame channel, and I had not met mine. And so, and the reason why I say that is because I actually went to an expert and paid them to find out if it was, had I met them yet. And she said, yeah, no, you haven't. But what I did learn was that I could meet them, like they were not dead or on another planet or something. Like, there was the possibility to reunite. So, Magnify Yourself, I just came across it one day, and I've been actually watching those twin flame channels for years, and the reason why is because there's good information to be had there when it comes to interacting with another person that you care about deeply. Because a twin flame is going to be like your other half, your partner, sort of more like a romantic situation, although that's not really the main focus of it. But there's a lot of other stuff that gets said on these channels, and I just particularly like Infinity because I found her to be very accurate at like projecting what has happened for me in the past year or so. And then did kind of move into the area of her expertise. But I did not have that situation for years. I had not met my person, so I don't even know why I was watching it, because you would think, like, if it's about twin flame stuff and you don't know that person or haven't come across them yet, like, what are you doing there? But I just felt drawn to it, and I'm glad that I went, because what she has had to say, and others like her, has been instrumental in other ways, in other parts of my life, other areas. So, yeah, she had a video that came out I think the same day after I had put mine up, and I was already all, well, never mind what I was feeling, but it was on the level of what I've already mentioned. And it was just very much like what I said there. It was very reassuring. It reminded me and reinforced what I myself know and had said and have shared with you right there. And I mean, I'm just saying, I can't speak for anybody else, but I am not perfect all the time. I can't yet maintain all of these spiritual attributes that I'm aware of them, but I'm having to learn how to employ them in practice. not like too much trouble. I mean, let's keep things in perspective here. It's doable, but it's something I have to make habitual, so I'll do it all the time. And I was stressed out about other stuff, and I have felt like an obligation to be here doing this every day, but I just didn't have it, So I'm not going to set a schedule. I never did, but just loosely with myself. But I'm always going to like come back and do this because it's what I love doing. So I guess the contemplation for me was just about coming to terms with a lot of things, and it's like a different level of self-care, whereas like, sure, I'm doing the other stuff, but there's like this minute tinkering that I'm like, all these little adjustments that I'm constantly having to make in myself, and I don't know if I'm having to make it sounds like I don't want to do it and it's a hassle, but if that were the case, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be talking about it. But whatever you decide, life is just going to continue to roll on, or it'll roll over you. You have to like figure out your place and get on board the thing of life so it doesn't roll over you. And I know that right now, the red, white, and blue stuff is scaring the crap out of people. Trump is scaring the crap out of people. Or people are letting Trump scare the crap out of them. Rather than that, because I feel like that's going to work in his favor. If you don't want him to come be president dictator, which, by the way, if it happened, I mean, how long is that going to last? That's all I'm going to say. Like, how long do you think that's going to go on? But I don't think it's going to go on at all. I have it on pretty good authority that he's not going to win. But on top of the stuff with him and all the people that are so vehemently behind him and so sure that he is the right answer, I saw an interesting comment on a news show yesterday, like an actual news show, and the man was saying what I have always felt like. These people that are so behind this authoritarian dictator for one day, right, why would you think it would last for one day? Haven't you learned his humor by now? If he says that he pretty much does it, or has done it, or will do it, and you're going to either be paying attention or you're not, because that's the road you're on right now. And I feel like, oh boy, I wish everybody would pay attention to this so that more people can go, oh my God, this is not what I want to happen in the future, and vote. But, maybe they will, maybe they won't. That's not anything I or anyone has control over, really, except for the person. Well, I don't know if that's true, but just on the level of, there could be interference, and there has been, that prevents people from voting, which is wrong. Because why are they doing it? I don't know. Because do they think they're going to lose? Possibly. Very possibly. But there's all of these sort of streams, these lines of things happening with the government, with like government people and their influence, former government people, never government people, like instigators and things. And we could like be afraid, but I don't think that's productive. And also, life path, we all actually chose like all of the little hot spots in the world and all of the reasons and not reasons, justified or not, for damaging each other. we've made it very exciting for this semester. But you know what? We'll figure it out, because it always comes to, there's always transition and something always comes out of it. But if you look at this, it's like the red, white, and blue together on the same body. And it's a beautiful body, and it's light, and it's airy, and it's up. So I feel like we have that to look forward to, because a lot of people are awakening. I think that however it manifests for a lot of people, this is what needs to happen periodically. But especially for these groups that I'm talking about now that are so filled with unrest and, you know, the lack of tolerance, also kindness in a lot of ways, they are out of phase. To me, if you watch an interview of people at Trump rallies, and I'm coming to it from like a lefty point of view, and I've watched the people on the right interview the people too, and I'm sorry, it's uniformly like contradictory. And don't you know you're saying something that sounds completely nutty? And how can you say that? You're old. Do you not know history? Did you forget about blah and blah and blah? Yeah, because it was convenient for that period of their life. That's what they're doing now. That's their end of life selections or whatever the person, whoever they are, chooses. It's their thing. It's their world. You just get to live in it. That's like a true statement, except it's true of everyone. And that's how we get clashy and out of phase with each other. But, you know, it seems like they're trying to get a grip on something in that smoke, you know, or conjure something from it. Because I see two people, like I definitely see a shadowy, shaded face person, and then I see somebody that looks like a ancient Chinese guy, like white beard and mustache, round head, and I want to say like spirit light on their head somehow. But gradually the image is gonna mesh, you know, meld into one state of mind, where not that everybody is agreeing politically on stuff, but basically coming into alignment with each other better, so that we can make things function better for all of us. Not just like, it's just not feasible for one group to have things their way. Well, I trailed off on the newscaster thing though. What he was saying, and I've said it many times, is they're not like thinking ahead of like how it's going to affect them, you know, because they hear Trump with his revenge schemes against politicians who said stuff about him that he took offense to, which, why are they getting so upset about that? They're not, it wasn't directed at them personally, but they're taking on his fight. It's like, that's nothing to do with the U.S. That's to do with his complaint. But, you know, eventually that's going to come to a crashing halt. And for Trump, he's got like, things are just not going to be going the way they used to for him anymore. You can see it. And maybe like trying to follow him, it's like a part of you knows like maybe that's not the best road to go down, like maybe not the best wagon to hitch to, but they have not maybe reached that point where they're in the deep quiet stage and sort of like come to their own reckoning about things and their themselves in it and their contribution. Eventually the transition is going to be over. Red, white, and blue is going to be together in the one body again, and it's going to be better. than it has been. And it's not even totally terrible now. That's just in some minds, you know. We do, like, make our own realities. Just a lot of something to think about. Thank you and good night.